Yes. Hi, this is yours truly, Clarissa talaga. Wait. Hi, this is yours truly, Clarissa talaga, and it's Tuesday, the 24th of August, 2021. So the graphics that you've seen explains the stress and the dread that every one of us feels whenever we fill up a form, and in this instance, it comes from the BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenues, diba? I don't think there is an exception to anybody. You know, if there is a justified moment wherein um, we can be honest, we can have that emotional honesty na, oh my gosh, magkano babayaran ko sa BIR, sa taxes, di ba? So, this talk about taxation is important because I am part of a system. I am part of a business na kung ano yung i-declare ko sa BIR, for sure, dapat mag-correspond sa counterpart na record somewhere kung saan binayaran din nila ang tao na nagngangalang Clarissa talaga Garcia. Ito po yung ecosystem natin, di ba? At pare-pareho tayo na may responsibility, you know, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is of the Lord's. So, ipakita ko lang ulit ang graphics na ito. Sa ikalulong or ikasasaya ko, ako pa rin po si Clarissa talaga Garcia, at hindi psychologist and psychotherapist ang BIR para i-require ang particular feelings, ang stability of our emotions sa pagbabayad ng ating buwis. Iyan po ang isang katotohanan na hindi kayang baliktarin. Nowadays, si Deputy Commissioner Cabreros, palagi niya sinasabi na nasa tax code, anumang means kung paano ang iyong mga palad ay nagkaroon ng income, figuratively and literally speaking, paano ka kumita, paano ka nakapagbayad ng bills, saan mo kumuha, we have to recognize the role of the revenue offices na pinakamalapit sa atin kung saan tayo nakarehistro upang ang pagbabayad natin ng buwis, right? So, after the first day of being a client, yes, yours truly has negotiated finally for a legal representation outside of the Philippines. So, since the data privacy law of 2012, this particular law is here in the Philippines. And because I have a personality outside of the Philippines and the mother company of this Philippine office, Philippine business, na nagbigay sa akin ng notice, cease and desist order, ay meron din siyang mother company outside of the Philippines, it's now possible to have direct communication. And so because this is such one of the leading companies in the public service sector, hindi maiiwasan that some members of my family, relatives, are also user as well as somewhat partner or employee of this Philippine office. Hindi maiiwasan na magkaroon ng pag-reconcile of records, especially that it will be done outside of the Philippines. So as a result of the first day of the legal representation of this law firm, for yours truly, Clarissa talaga, dapat naka-ready din because my payment is on weekly basis and there's 5 turnaround days kung saan if we have a legal communication to serve from my part because I've always been the recipient, and from here on I will be able to respond properly according to the law, and at the same time serve my own, diba? So in times past, it's really beyond me to know the intricacies of the law. And ngayon lang magkakaroon ng mediation wherein I will be duly represented. So my first day is, I'm on a clock actually because I'm laying down the Monday, Tuesday, hanggang Friday, the first week that I will become a client. Diba? Naka-ready na siya, dapat nakasalang na siya in the pipeline para sunod-sunod. Given that there will be, the terms and condition is that merong 5-day turnaround wherein from my end to the law firm, they have the responsibility to act on my communication after the 5 days. They will have 5 days to work on my express wishes. Yon. So as a result of cease and desist order that I had received November 2020, I also suffered some stress and anxiety. Just imagine, di ba? Para magpapasko pa naman. And so when I had received it, and nabasa ko, hindi ko kasi siya agad binasa in its entirety. Actually, I had paced myself paragraph per paragraph because it was so shocking. The content was so shocking. It also affected the morale and confidence of my course. The amount at stake na ipiniliwanag ko, that my explanation of where I was coming from, it involved amount of money that I had received, and after receiving that notice, some of the gains that initial fund had gotten me, nawala rin because napunta siya sa damage control, diba? So irrespective of whether there had been breach of contract or MOA or error, discrepancy in interpretation, the damage has been done, and I must, without waiting for the third letter, I had to act fast, and so damage control, and it had costed time, money, resources, connections, diba? So that was the aftermath. So imagine a friendly and from my part, akala ko merong friendly and working relationship, which turned out to be just a one-way or subject for clarification from here on. So that hurt. I initially thought that was it. And then the realities of the Philippine calendar began to become a factor because 2022 is an election year. If 2022 is an election year, and I received the notice, the legal notice, last months of 2020, and 2021 is filing of certificate of candidacy for election year 2022. And so some aspects of election laws like electioneering will come into play. And paano po ba maipagtatanggol ng isang mamamayan ang sarili niya kung hindi niya alam ang katatayuan niya sa mata or sa paningin ng iba pang juridical entities, hindi po ba? So that's good faith on my part. And continuing good faith sapagkat nagkaroon din po ng manifestation of intention sa tamang ahensya ng pamahalaan kung saan, kung ano po yung inilagay kong content and explanation for the supposed breach of privacy, yun din po yung inilagay ko sa iba pang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Even before, a year before, and even a year after, diba? Some months after, kung maipaliwanag yung reason ko, my explanation, the very same explanation, were copy furnished the different agencies then. That's my good faith. So the appreciation of ORs with corresponding amounts can go both ways. By the way, this is a shout out because I received really strong sentiment and feedback out of the mailing and duplicating services of this office, of this workstation with registered address, diba, under my name. I received those strong feedback at I do not know whether na-satisfy na explanation ko ang demand for really an explanation because sinabi ko po na sa business registration ko, I had mailed you, I had duplicated the letters that I sent you because they fall under the business activities that I am licensed, diba, to undertake. And it is not just a general term. It's not whimsical. It's not just capricious on my part na walang pinanggagalingan. Actually, it's the classification number 7499 sa NEC, yung Industrial and Occupational Code ng BIR. And NEC stands for Not Elsewhere Classified, yung catch-all. Di po ba pag nagkakaroon ng paradigm shift at nagsisimulang pumasok at kagaya ngayon because of the pandemic, nagkaroon ng slowdown in some business activities while other business activities had reason to fill up the gaps like in the services and social media, the technology had been used. And so those business owners who are in this paradigm shift kung saan nagkakaroon ng pagbabago ng landscape, meron po ang BIR na NEC, Not Elsewhere Classified, so that may mga bagong booming, nagpo-prosper na industry na business kagaya ng because of the pandemic, merong paglalagyan, meron sasagot sa kahit na anong registration ng isang business owner, ng isang commercial establishment, di po ba? So, under this classification, kasama po dyan ang mailing and duplicating services na hindi naman po siya compulsory. You just have to make known what your sentiments are, how you are receiving my letters and my communication, and I am beholden to respect your boundaries and to respect you. But it's just that it's part of my business and it's part of the registered as under my business. More on that later on. So the appreciation of ORs with corresponding amounts can go both ways. The moment po na nakipag-usap ang camp namin sa company, sa corporation, sa conglomerates, at merong gagawin na computation and reconciliation of records and yung mga factors na nag-figure in, I can face order for refund, diba? Pwedeng mag-demand ng refund kung saan ibabalik ko yung naibigay sa akin na pera. In doing so, ako din naman po, my due diligence that had cost money na nabawasan na yung value ng pera na ibinigay sa akin, yun din po yung sasabihin ko upang magkaroon kami ng meeting of the minds to reach a settlement on how much. Of course, it's not 100% refund. For ano naman po yun, di ba? Like magbo-book sa travel agency and for some reason, the booking is not honored and there is a refund, there is usually a deduction. It's not 100% refund. And in my case, we have to determine whether the money that I had received can be declared as my income sa BIR. That's why I don't have other option except to go back and to ask directly what the nature of the cash that I had received, that I was able to pay the business expenses, the outstanding expenses that I had in 2019, 2020, diba? So even now, 2021. So the venue would have to be a, sabihin na natin, if we cannot have a conducive atmosphere, ambience here in the Philippines, finally, I have a representation outside of the Philippines. So basically, that's what I will be communicating to them. And so, eto pong sinasabi ko, bali ano lang po ito. This is not new actually. This was already communicated April of this year in one of my broadcasts.
Hello, this is yours truly, Clarisse talaga. And since this is an open air, probably, most likely, definitely, I can afford not to wear my mask for a few minutes while I discuss a very important status and the basis of it. Today is the 5th of April, 2021. It's the first Monday after the Easter Sunday. So, Happy Easter! The 5th of April, 2021. So, as you can see, this is a very, the background that I have, it's in the front of our house. And this also serves as my office, the registered office address. It's a busy street. There's the QR code, which has its registration at the Philippine database, and there is also the Homeowners Association of Pleasantville subdivision. On top of that, there's the barangay clearance, the barangay permit. Actually, since time immemorial, I don't think I have to elaborate on the contention of hostile parties or how we found ourselves in one of the parties, contending parties in adversarial due process here in the city of Lucena, province of Quezon. What I may regard as public knowledge, industrial classification as amended. I got this from the BIR certification that is permitted under license, under permission by the state. The BIR can impose taxes and penalties, etc. Development and sale of land and cemetery lots and operation of apartels. This group excludes, these are the exceptions. Development on own account involving construction is classified in group 452. Building of complete constructions or parts thereof, civil engineering. The operation of hotels, rooming houses, camps, trailer camps, and other short-term lodging places is classified in Group 551.
Kritisismo, partner Mike, hindi para
pursuing at this time. The things that I am allowed to do under my own company, the things that I can speak for, and the things, the statements that I can make, the mentions of names and the brands and logo, and the things that I must apologize for, because it had raised, incidents in the past wherein
let me take a pause. Hindi po pwede na ang pagsagot ko sa magiging katanungan or kung magkakaroon po ng technical problems sa declaration ko ng income sa BIR or elsewhere outside of the Philippines ay magtatapos lang sa akin dahil bahagi lang po ako ng sistemang ipinatutupad ng LGU, ng Finance Department, local to national, sa madaling salita, ng estado, ng state. Because I am just one citizen and if I have been given clearances as a law-abiding citizen, it means sumunod lang po ako sa sistema na ipinatupad ng estado. And with a question I'm asked in turn, dapat ko din pong ibato. Hindi po batong gano'n. Figuratively speaking, take for instance sa BDO, kung saan ang akin pong matagal po akong naging holder ng account while I was a producer and publisher dito po sa Pilipinas, kung saan ito po yung tinatayuan ko ngayon na gains, diba? From the experiences and the business connections and activities that I did in. My financial record, of course, nasa pag-iingat din ng BDO. Sapagkat meron po ba, dapat ko rin maitanong kung meron po bang pondo na nasa pangangalaga ng BDO na dapat ay naibayad, ibinabayad at ibabayad ng buwis na hindi po sakop ng husgado ang mandato na ito. At I'm talking about the funds kung saan ang personal information ko ay nakalagay sa paper trail and paperwork na makikita yung pagkakakilanlan ko. My past business history, financial record, na hanggang ngayon po na may nagpapatuloy. Sa katunayan po ng pagpapatuloy na yan is my BIR, business registration, kung saan doon po matitrace. Hindi naman po ako what do you call that, underground. Actually, I was a consignment supplier of the biggest bookstores here in the Philippines. And so they had imposed requirements before I can be accepted as one of the suppliers. In this way, masasabi ko po na may sariling mandato. Take for instance, ang anuman pong bahagi ng judiciary, kung ito man po ay municipal trial court or RTC na mag-issue ng order, meron pong meron silang sariling mandato at meron din ang finance department kung saan ang BIR ay isa sa mga ahensya nito. So, ang husgado po natin, walang tax collector, wala silang revenue guidelines, at wala rin po silang policy on kung paano mananagot ang isang taxpayer sa hindi pagbabayad at pagde-declare ng pondo na nasa kanilang pag-iingat, di po ba? So at walang pumipigil, like in my thinking, wala rin naman pong pumipigil sa BDO. I'm just using it as an illustration na humingi ng wisdom and guidance from the court. So there's no stopping them, any juridical entity who had been ordered by the court, for example, to hold on to some funds, so they can ask for review because kung matagal na po ang mahabang panahon na ang pangyayari since then, at hindi naman po tayo static actually, we are part of a system. So if we're part of a system, there's no way that we can operate in a vacuum. Kahit po yung mga underground, kapag bumili sila ng isang bagay, it means nagpo-conform sila sa sistemang umiiral. Kailangang magbayad ng taxes dahil usually inclusive of, lalo na kung under VAT, yung binibilhan nila ng produkto, di ba? So, talagang, ang sinasabi ko, we are powerless against the state. The state is so powerful na a citizen like me can only answer question and obey rules as far as the rest of the agencies of the state will allow me. So I cannot go beyond what has been imposed upon me by other agencies and agents of the state. And with that answer, I need that on paper. I cannot just, invoke here and there na parang my afterthought. No, it's that was what I have been doing in this workspace. At yan din po ang mga content ng broadcast ko, yung mga information na sinishare ko, like this one, last April. And with that, I just want to say, merong sariling guidance ang mga bangko mula sa BSP, pero meron din pong bukod na guidance, meron din pong bukod na mandato ang AMLA, yung Anti-Money Laundering Commission po ba yun? At meron din ang usual mga regional RDO of regional district offices ng BIR. So kung meron pong lawmakers, for instance, na magpapa-investigate, iba rin po ang kanilang mandato and hindi rin po sila taxpayer, hindi rin po sila tax collector. So may kanya-kanya po siya ng mandato at may kanya-kanya siyang requirements na for instance, if one ruling will affect my ability to meet the requirements of other agents of the state, I am duty bound to take refuge, di po ba? Meron po dapat na, alam po dapat kung saan ako pupunta upang ipaliwanag ang kinasasadlakan na position ko, na sitwasyon. At yun po yung pangunahing role. And if I cannot help my own company, Talaga Information and Business Consultancy, I truly, truly have nothing to offer other companies who will hire me. I cannot offer any business who wants to hire us as like information platform, as to do the business activities na hindi nila kayang panghawakan or hindi nila kayang gawin at this point in time. Like if they are foreign companies who would like to do business here in the Philippines, if talaga information and business consultancy cannot take care of its own responsibilities to comply with the law, wala po talagang pag-asa, and I should be held responsible for saying otherwise. Di po ba? So, shout out po sa nagalit sa akin for mailing, duplicating, and narrating the business activities of this company. So, the sustainability of my income na pangbabayad ko po sa mga services like the law firm, accounting services, ay hindi po siya sinagutan in the past ng kahit na sino na tao outside of the mandate of this company, outside of the personal knowledge or outside of the cognizance of this company na registrado naman po. It's part of our operation. So, that is where my confidence is coming from, to ask for verification with regards to funds that I did not receive or those that I received, and also the legal orders that I had been asked to comply with, which is contrary to my previous understanding. So all of this is coming your way September 2021. And just to illustrate this furthermore, please watch the remaining part of this video broadcast.
Had mentioned, and I had uploaded business names and other companies that have called my attention to them. You know, I want to thank them for bringing this up rather than give rise to wrong interpretations and wrong perception. So actually, what they did is right. Question. In previous operation of TIBC, talaga Information and Business Consultancy, otherwise known in BIR as Clarissa T. Garcia Consultancy Services. Who are our clients? Can I provide the list and the name of our clients? I had encountered this very legitimate question because they are ascertaining the operation, the source of income that I have. First though, before I give my answer, I want to say that will the answer that I give, will it satisfy, as it satisfies group allied to us, allied to me, sympathetic to my cause, quote and unquote. Will they be able to satisfy the technical guidelines and prerequisites of camps opposite, diba, who have already engaged me, engaged my family to a due process, an adversarial due process. And so I must not only provide the legal framework, though I'm a non-lawyer but I own the company, I must provide the basis for existence and our operation as far as the regulation is concerned, not just to satisfy the groups that I am part of, but more so with the mediation, the supposed to be objective mediator of contentions born of business interests, contending business interests. That's one way of putting it. Another is the personal issues hounding us, which seek to define actually and name the venues, diba, where we can also present our own side, where I can present my own side. So the preparation, the groundwork that I had done, that is now the basis for the daily time record that I am submitting. It's not just for the management, for the company, but also it's also for the opposing companies, hostile companies, competitor, and the mediator and regulator. Hello, so in continuation of the company profile, Talaga Information and Business Consultancy, otherwise known as Clarisse Talaga Consultancy Services. It's classified in the industry, in the list of industry here in the Philippines under Section K, Real Estate, Renting, and Business Activities. It also says here, real estate, renting, and business activities. It's the catch-all. And mine falls under the class 7499, other business activities. So this class includes a great variety of service activities generally delivered to commercial clients. Commercial clients meaning they to operate on their own business permit, their own compliance to regulations. So it's not so much as for individual consumer or the grassroots market. I have been properly guided all along when I say that the clients that I have cannot be disclosed without establishing the need, because they are protected by the pre-pandemic data privacy, right? So commercial clients, in the practice of my profession, there is bound to be miscommunication and not proper interpretation being non-lawyers amongst us, and so it was brought out into the open last 2020 while we are in under the advisory of IATF. So I had a little difficulty in writing a proper response to the legal demand letter that I have received from Grab. So in connection to that, may I just enumerate the reason why a penalty that will be imposed by BIR RDO 60 for the license that I could not renew in 2020 because of the difficulties like being disowned by a group which previously I have supporting papers wherein I thought I was really a legitimate bona fide part of it. But since I got the notice, there is no ifs and buts but to adjust my way of doing business, the operation, diba? Otherwise, on its own, a stand-alone business registration here in Lucena City allows me as the CEO to do the following. there are actually subsets, subclass to 7499. But first, this is the main job, main service that I am allowed to give to a commercial client. Bill collecting, credit rating in connection with an individual's or firm's credit worthiness or business practices. I cannot do for others what I cannot do for the company. We cannot engage in any of this without first being declared as, credit worthy, ethical business practice, diba? So I cannot have an outside commercial client without ministering for our own needs. Business brokerage activities like arranging for the purchase and sale of small and medium-sized businesses, including professional practices. Appraisal activities other than for real estate and insurance. Stenographic, duplicating, and mailing activities. Hello, LBC Courier. Including typing and other secretarial activities such as transcribing from tapes, discs or belts, proofreading, etc. Copying, blueprinting, multigraphing, and similar activities, envelope addressing, stuffing, sealing and mailing, mailing list compilation, etc., including for advertising material. Methinks, how can one advertise without going public about it? So how do we, maximize the expense for advertising without going to the public domain, right? So when I was issued the cease and desist order, it was on account of the things that I made public already. So it should not be retroactive, but only from the date that I had received. But of course, all this will be consulted to a real lawyer. But since I was able to copy furnish them of before going to public about it, I should have received the notice or demand letter after the proof of delivery, after proof of the copy furnishing, diba? So I would not take it as a retroactive, only from the date of the receipt of the demand letter. Next.
And with that, I would like to say thank you for staying with me. It's longer than the usual. It's a 45 minutes of broadcast. I have never had this kind of live broadcast that runs a little less than an hour. So thank you so much. But, you must agree with me that the facts that I have here presented, they are relevant as of this time. So ang part po na ito na aking ihihingi ng pang-unawa sa BIR would be, the non-payment. Ito po yung schedule of payment that I should have been making declarations po. Hindi ko po siya talaga nagagawa. Hindi ko nagkaroon ng pandemic. Plus, ngayon 2021, ngayon pa lang kami mag-start to go out of the house and present the documents that I had yielded out of the work that I had been doing in this workspace. So, maraming salamat po. And this is yours truly, Clarissa.